So with my upcoming trip to Colorado in the very cold weather, highs in the 30s, that awaits me, I figured now was as good a time as any. Go ahead and bring you the 10 fragrances that I'll be reaching for the most from a designer standpoint this winter. So stay tuned. So I do actually have an honorable mention. These aren't necessarily in any order, but I kind of did rank what I plan on reaching for the most with a few of them towards the top, whatever. But my honorable mention, when I'm in the mood for Invictus this winter, because I will be in Colorado for this winter, so a lot of cold, a lot of snow, it just makes sense to go with Invictus Intense. It's sweeter, it's boozier, it's just as powerful as the original, but I just find it to be better for the cold weather. This is always the case whenever I feel like wearing Invictus in the very cold weather. This is the one that I just tend to reach for. It's the only time of the year that I reach for Invictus Intense because it's just so sweet. It really, really is. Very similar to the original, but just like I said, that whiskey note that's added to it, it's just a sweeter, boozier take. And the Intense moniker fits it very well. So this year in the cold, when I'm in the mood for Invictus, it's going to be Invictus Intense. Now next, this is the time of year when I like to pull out my coffee fragrances. As it gets cold, a nice warm coffee scent just does it for me. And one of my favorites, because I do enjoy a good patchouli fragrance as well, is from MUGLER. ASMEN. Pure coffee, the discontinued pure coffee. Beautiful. Don't get me wrong, the coffee doesn't last forever. Eventually it ends up just being ASMEN. But, oh man, for the first hour, hour and a half, when that coffee is real prominent, it's like a dark roast coffee, black coffee, fresh pot. It's beautiful. I love it. I smell it floating in the air right now. And you really got to enjoy patchouli. Obviously, that's what the ASMEN line of fragrances is all about. The base DNA is a patchouli heavy fragrance, and this is that. It's basically ASMEN plus some coffee in the top and heart is essentially what this fragrance is. Not the easiest to find. They were running around the rack stores about a year or so ago. That was when I got my hands on it. It was actually a little over a year ago, and worth having for sure. Is it worth paying some crazy resale on? No, but if you can find it for a good price and you like a good coffee fragrance, or the ASMEN DNA in general, just you like patchouli, you'll probably like this one. It performs very well, and it's true to the original. Some added coffee. I'll be reaching for this one quite a bit this winter. It's ASMEN Pure Coffee. Like I said, this is when I like to pull out those coffee fragrances, and this is definitely one of my favorites. It's a compliment machine. I love the way it smells, and it's a pretty good performer too. It's from Hugo Boss. It's Boss the Scent Private Accord, my big 200 milliliter bottle. This is that time of year for me to bust out Private Accord. This is another one that I pretty much wear exclusively in the wintertime. That Manenka mixed with coffee, it's just so good. It really is. It's not some beast in projection. It does have a really good sillage though. It doesn't reach out real far, but what it does reach out, it's a beautiful, intoxicating scent trail. That's why I say this is a compliment machine for sure. I've gotten many, many compliments wearing this one around the workplace for sure, because that's usually where I wear this, because it's not too loud. It's actually works out well if you like coffee fragrances in the wintertime at the office. And it's every bit of an 8-hour fragrance for sure. It's got good longevity. It's just not really loud. So if you're looking for some beast mode fragrance, this might not be for you, but it's definitely not a weak performer either. And it's such a beautiful, unique coffee fragrance, because I don't know of any other coffee fragrances that come along with the Manenka fruit that's in the Boss the Scent DNA. This will probably always make my winter designer list because it's just that good to me. You know, I love this fragrance. I wear exclusively in the wintertime. Boss the Scent Private Accord. All of these really and truly, except for 2 or 3 of them, I pretty much wear exclusively in the winter time because I'm used to being in the South. Well, I will have a change of scenery and change of climate this year, so I'll be able to pull out these heavier wear, warming, boozy fragrances a lot more. And one of my favorites is definitely 1821 man-made. Now, I've heard people in the comments say that it's reformulated and it's not a beast like it used to be, because as you can tell by the dent in this bottle, it's not a new bottle. Very sad if that's the case. I don't know if that's in fact true. Oh, God, it's such a beautiful smell though. Because, you know, there's many times when I've had people tell me all the time how horrible the performance is on new bottles of Dylan Blue. And my bottle of Dylan Blue is not even a year old yet. And I get great performance on that. So don't listen to everything you hear and try for yourself. And I would like to say that the same thing is going to go for 1821 Man-Made. You can find them for around 50 some odd dollars online. Discounters that carry it. Reliable sellers on eBay, places like that. Retails around 80. This is a fantastic fragrance, and this bottle anyway on my skin is a monster. 12 plus hours, very, very loud, easy on the sprays, gorgeous compliment machine, but it's a honey bomb, beautiful red wine accord with some tobacco. It's just, it's to die for, pretty much. It's a wonderful, wonderful, very powerful, thick, and robust fragrance that is ideal for very cold weather. This is definitely going to have no trouble cutting through the cold, and that's why I like to wear it exclusively in the winter. It's 1821 Man-Made Sweet Tobacco Spirits. Now, this is pretty new to the collection. I did get this from Steve over at Kingdom Fragrances. He does have more bottles available. I kind of have been saving this for the colder weather because the note breakdown would imply that, yeah, it's probably good for cooler weather, but I just find it so spicy, resinous, and a bit mysterious that I think it's going to be perfect for me to wear in my new adventures in the cold this year. It's from Tom Ford. It's the original Noir. I haven't gotten Noir Anthracite yet. Now, yeah, I've tried Noir Extreme. I've smelled it many times, and eventually I'll get a bottle. I have had a sample of that before. Great gourmand fragrance, don't get me wrong, but this is more my style. This is kind of fougere, floral, spicy with some resinous aspects to it. It's not a fougere, but it's got a lot of qualities of a fougere. It's actually a lovely fragrance, pretty long lasting, not overly powerful as far as a projection standpoint. Like I said, it's classy yet mysterious. It really is. There's something special about this fragrance that really lends it to tongue twister, to differentiate itself from other fougères and other fragrances of this style that have iris and rose, vetiver, some spices, some woods, things like that, because there's a lot of familiarity with this note breakdown, but there's a few things that kind of add to that mysteriousness of this fragrance. You know what I mean? It just really takes a different turn from the norm, and I dig that about this fragrance, and I will be reaching for this one a lot this winter. It's actually on my hand right now. It's Tom Ford Noir. You know, I debated on putting a different fragrance, actually the newest fragrance in this line, on here, which I love. I do. It's one of my new favorites. But I can't sit here and kid myself. I know when it's nice and cold outside, there's only one in this line that really warms me and just does the trick in the coldest of weathers. VIKTOR and ROLF Spice Bomb Extreme. Yes, seeing this in videos can get repetitive. I know I'm not the only one that's going to include it this year in their winter list, and I'm not the only one that included it last year. Because it's just that good, guys. It's easy to talk about how good it is for the cold because it's just that good for the cold. And God, it smells so good. Spicy, warming, cuddly, very cuddling type of fragrance. Compliment machine, great performer. Has a beautiful vanilla sweetness to it. This is a great fragrance. It really is. Yeah, if you're in a pinch on a budget, Cremo Spice and Black Vanilla can get the job done, but it's not the same. It's not. That has a cardamom spice, like I said, for 23 bucks. It's not a bad route to go. But if you have the money to spare, you can find a good price at some discounters. Spice Bomb Extreme is a must-have, especially in the winter weather. Great for date nights. Hell, great for an everyday wear. You can wear this to work if you really want to. It's going to cut through the coldest of weather with that spice and that potency that it has. It's just some good stuff, and I'll be reaching for it more than not this winter. Spice Bomb Extreme. Now, from what I can tell, this is starting to get harder and harder to find. So last year it was on the cheapie list, but technically it can't be on the cheapie list because I don't think you can get it for under $30 anymore. And I know this is a personal favorite of Mark over at Aussie Fragrances. Mark, if you're watching this, shout out to you, my friend. You'll see this in his social media feeds as a scent of the day more often than you would think. John VARVATOS Dark Rebel. This is a lovely fragrance. Is it a beast performer? Absolutely not. Nothing from John VARVATOS is. About 6 hours with this one though. Modest. Not the end of the world, not the weakest thing. For a winter fragrance, it's kind of weak. Oh man, but it's such a beautiful, smoky, leathery, boozy, little animalic tobacco fragrance. It's just, it's got so much character. It really does. It's got a lot going for it for what it is. You know, it's got a little bit of castoreum. It's got a believable animalic nature from that and the leather. The rum in it isn't synthetic. The tobacco's very well done. It's got a nice smokiness to it. People say it reminds them of a black leather jacket. I can absolutely see that. This is a grown man fragrance right here. This smells like a well put together man in the colder months for sure. And one that if you can find it for a good price, it's absolutely worth owning. In my opinion, it's still the best John VARVATOS fragrance, and one that I wear exclusively in the wintertime. And this winter I'll be reaching for it, John VARVATOS Dark Rebel. Another one that I only reach for in the winter because it's just so powerful on my skin. It's 3 to 4 sprays is good. I never do more than 4 sprays because I never need more than that because it projects very heavy off of my skin. It's very long lasting, it's sweet, it's a little chocolatey, it's a little powdery. It's Armani code Profumo. This beautiful parfum right here has worked wonders for me in the past. Eventually I'll run out of this 30 ml. Oh man, this is my favorite Armani code flanker. I've said it many times in other videos and I'll say it again in this one. I like this one better than Absolute. I enjoy Absolute. This is less sweet, still sweet, but less sweet because it doesn't have an amped up vanilla note. This is my jam for the winter. This is one of those gotta have it for life type of fragrances. It's that good to me as far as designer fragrances for the winter are concerned. It's at the very least a must try, guys. If you like anything from the Armani Code line, you need to try this one because in my opinion, it offers the best of what the line is about. You get that Code DNA with all the performance and the modern aspects that have been twisted into the classic Armani Code DNA, all in this bottle. And that's Armani Code Profumo. The scent on this one makes it a superstar. The bottle doesn't look like this anymore. Newer batches, they changed the bottle. It's actually a clear bottle. But from what I understand, the juice performance is the same. The smell's the same. So don't let that detour you if you can't get the original black bottle from Guerlain, L'Homme Idéal, L'Intense. This beautiful juice. Now, it's not a beast mode performer. It's about a 7 to 8 hour fragrance, which is totally fine. And it's not a screamer off of my skin. But it is a little bit more than subtle beauty. This flanker did the DNA right. It did it justice for the colder months. The leather is amplified in this. The smoke accord just adds that little mysterious touch with the beautiful sweet almond. The cherry note from the eau de parfum is still detectable in there, but it's not in the forefront like it is in the eau de parfum. Don't get me wrong, the eau de parfum is still great for the winter. That's a wonderful fragrance as well, and it's easier to find than this one. But I'll tell you what, if I gotta pick one to grab in the cold, snowy day outside, anything like that, I'm definitely going to be reaching for this one a bit more. I've been waiting for the cold weather so I could pull this one out and really enjoy what it's all about. This is a lovely must-have fragrance in my opinion. If you can find this one for a good price, pull the trigger. Blind Buy worthy in my opinion. If you like anything from this line, this is one of the best, if not the best in the line, in my personal opinion, especially for the cold months. Guerlain L'Homme Idéal, L'Intense. Now this was either #1 or #2 last year, because I don't remember if it was this or SPICEBOMB Extreme that was #1. I want to say this was #1 last year, because I haven't watched last year's video recently. Beautiful. I've recently talked about it in my favorite floral fragrances in my collection video, which if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put it right there for you to check out. This is from Prada. It's L'Homme Intense. Oh yeah, you know we had to start getting to some more florals. It wasn't just going to be Tom Ford Noir in this video that had iris in it. Man, patchouli, leather, soapy, powdery, iris. Performs, not overly loud, 8 to 10 hours. It's just beautiful. You're an iris lover, you need to own this fragrance for the colder months. Even in the spring and fall, it's still a really good fragrance. I wouldn't wear this in the summer, absolutely not. I feel like it's too heavy and cloying of a wear for the summer. That's where Prada L'Homme Low and Prada L'Homme come in my opinion, or Water Splash or any of those. But for the cold months, for the winter time, this is definitely the way to go with this DNA. It is another one that is a must-have, in my opinion, especially if you like iris fragrances. This is a beautifully done designer fragrance from Prada. Nobody does soapy in the designer market anyways like Prada, and this is one of my favorite grabs for the wintertime. I actually have 2 bottles of this to make sure I never run out, because I have so many fragrances. It's going to take me God knows how long to go through this one, and whenever I do, I've got another bottle ready waiting in the wings. This winter I will be reaching, as I did last year, for Prada L'Homme Intense. Last but not least, the most expensive fragrance in this video, because resellers have hiked this thing up to astronomical prices. It's not the easiest thing to get a hold of, but man, it's the best fragrance in this video in my opinion. It's from DIOR. DIOR Homme Parfum. Another one that I like to wear exclusively in the cold, because I have all the rest of them. So I have ones to wear in the heat, in the spring, in the fall, for date situations. I have the other DIOR Hommes for that. But when it comes to really cold, this is powerful. This is a gorgeous leather fragrance with a supportive lipsticky iris that DIOR is known for. This stuff, man, man, man. A little bit of orange up top, a lot of sandalwood, a lot of leather, a little bit of oud, and I do detect a bit of the rose, but mostly that leather, that iris, and a beautiful sandalwood dry down. This is a masterpiece designer fragrance. Those of you that have smelled this or have a bottle or have had a decant or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's somebody out there that doesn't like this fragrance, because not every fragrance is for everybody, but in my opinion, this is the best designer fragrance to wear in the wintertime, as long as you like iris. And I absolutely love iris, and I love DIOR Homme Parfum for the winter. Well guys, that was my 10+1 honorable mention, and until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. The reason this video even got brought on is because I have a trip to Colorado coming up in the next few days. I'm looking as to what fragrances am I going to bring on the flight with me, because I'm looking at highs in the 30s and lows in the anywhere from 7 to low teens range. So it's going to be nice and cold. It's going to be beanies and hoodies and all those wonderful things while I'm out there. And I'm definitely going to be bringing some of these fragrances with me. I'm just trying to narrow it down to about 3 to bring with me. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these fragrances that I discussed in this video and you give them a spray now, very confident that you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.